in organization investigated thoroughly by the Senate Internal Security Subcommittee and described as follows. The effective leadership of the IPR used IPR prestige to promote the interests of the Soviet Union in the United States. Let me read that again. The effective leadership of the IPR used IPR prestige to promote the interests of the Soviet Union in the United States. Dr. Bunch is on record as supporting the position of the IPR leadership in this matter. This troika arrangement engineered by the communists is frightening and devastating when you consider the United States of America has no foreign policy of its own except the United Nations. And we covered that previously and proved it. This is it, Mr. Speaker. If this republic is to perish, we ourselves within our own household will be the architect and finisher of our fate. Don't go away, folks. I'll be right back after this very short pause. Continue from the United States Code, 1988 edition, Supplement 3. That's the United States Code, 1988 edition, Supplement 3, containing the general and permanent laws of the United States enacted during the 101st Congress and 102nd Congress, first session, prepared and published under authority of Title II, U.S. Code, Section 285B by the Office of the Law Revision Council of the House of Representatives, January 3rd, 1989 to January 2nd, 1992, Volume 2, Title 12, Banks and Banking, to Title 22, Foreign Relations and Intercourse, United States Government Printing Office, Washington, 1992. Pay attention, make sure you have your pencil and pad of paper by your side. It's important that you understand these things. On page 1637, Title 22, Foreign Relations and Intercourse, Section 2551, Chapter 35, Arms Control and Disarmament. Go down to Subchapter 1, General Provisions, Congressional Statement of Purpose. Short title of 1989 Amendment, Public Law 101-216, Section 1, December the 11th, 1989. 103, Statutes at Large, 1853, provided that this Act, enacting sections 257(7)A and 2595 to 2595C of this title, amending sections 2563, 2567, 2588, and 2589 of this title, and enacting provisions set out as notes under sections 2565 and 2567 of this title, may be cited as the Arms Control and Disarmament Amendments Act of 1989. Paragraph, Soviet weapons destruction. Soviet weapons destruction. Public Law 102-228, Title II, December 12, 1991, 105 statutes, looks like 1693, provided that, this writing is very tiny, folks. Section 201, short title. This title may be cited as the Soviet Nuclear Threat Reduction Act of 1991. National Defense and Soviet Weapons Destruction. Findings. The Congress finds that the Soviet President Gorbachev has requested Western help in dismantling nuclear weapons, and President Bush has proposed United States cooperation on the storage, transportation, dismantling, and destruction of Soviet nuclear weapons, and we're being told that that hasn't occurred. And it's a lie. 1. Making a substantial investment of its resources for dismantling or destroying such weapons. 2. Foregoing any military modernization program that exerts legitimate defense requirements and foregoing the replacement of destroyed weapons of mass destruction. 3, foregoing any use of fissionable and other components of destroyed nuclear weapons and new nuclear weapons. 4, facilitating United States verification of weapons destruction carried out under Section 212. 5, complying with all relevant arms control agreements. And 6, observing international recognized human rights, including the protection of minorities. I told you, folks, the United States of America and the United Nations are one and the same. One and the same. You want to see Mystery Babylon? Go look in the mirror. Destroy nuclear weapons, chemical weapons, and other weapons. Transport, store, disable, and safeguard weapons in connection with their destruction. And 3, establish verifiable safeguards against the proliferation of such weapons. This is 1989, ladies and gentlemen, 1989, ladies and gentlemen, 1989. When we were told that no such thing was taking place. When did the Berlin Wall fall? We've been deceived big time. Big time. Bigger time than you ever will probably know in your entire life, regardless of what you hear on this show. Listen to this. Administration of Nuclear Threat Reduction Programs. Funding. Transfer authority. The President may, to the extent provided in an Appropriations Act or joint resolution, transfer to the appropriate defense accounts from amounts appropriated to the Department of Defense for fiscal year 1992 for operation and maintenance or from balance in working capital accounts established under Section 2208 of Title 10, United States Code, not to exceed $400 million for use in reducing the Soviet military threat under Part B. In other words, we paid for it. Sheeple, we paid for it. Before the Berlin Wall fell, folks, Section 2567, this makes me sick. Special Representatives for Arms Control and Disarmament Negotiations, Appointment, Powers, and Duties. The President may appoint by and with the advice and consent of the Senate 2 special representatives for arms control and disarmament negotiations, one of whom should serve as special representative for conventional arms control negotiations. That means your weapons, ladies and gentlemen. And the other should serve as special representative and chief science advisor to the director. The 2 special representatives shall perform their duties and exercise their power under the direction of the President and the Secretary of State, acting through the director. Well, folks, this is 1989. 1989. Title 22, Formulations Intercourse, page 1640. Again, 1989, same law. Subchapter 3, Functions, Section 2577A. Arms Control Verification. Establishment of working group. The President should establish a working group, 1, to examine verification approaches to a strategic arms reduction agreement and other arms control agreements, and to assess the relevance for such agreements of the verification provisions of the treaty between the United States and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics on the elimination of their intermediate range and shorter range missiles, signed at Washington, December 8, 1987. 1987. Didn't know all this was going on, did you? Information and database. The agency shall allocate sufficient resources to develop and maintain a comprehensive information and database on verification concepts, research, technologies, and systems. The agency shall collect, maintain, analyze, and disseminate information pertaining to arms control verification and monitoring, including information regarding A, all current United States bilateral and multilateral arms treaties, and B, proposed, prospective, and potential bilateral or multilateral arms treaties in the areas of nuclear, conventional, chemical, and space weapons. 2, the agency shall seek to improve the United States verification and monitoring activities through the monitoring and support of relevant research and analysis. Under appropriations, amounts to carry out the purposes of this chapter. They are authorized to be appropriated, and this is on top of what I've already given you. Number one, $44,527,000 for fiscal year 1992, and $45,862,810 for fiscal year 1993, and two, such additional amounts as may be necessary for each fiscal year for which an authorization of appropriations is provided in paragraph 1 for increases in salary, pay, retirement, other employee benefits authorized by law, and here's where it comes, folks, other non-discretionary costs, and to offset adverse fluctuations in foreign currency exchange rates. We have searched for those figures, and they are, of course, classified. Subchapter 5 on